justice, healing, education. Time to awaken the community.
Good morning, afternoon, evening, whenever or however you are watching it and or listening. You guys should know me by now, but if you guys don't, my name is Holly Sisa, and I am the lovely host of this wonderful, more than a podcast, Morning Mimosas, where we value justice, healing, and education for the Black and minority communities. And if you ask the question why, I shouldn't have to keep telling you guys, but ta-da! But guys, today's episode, actually, before we get that started, we're going to present two different commercials from two of our lovely partners, one of which is a guest on today's episode. So before we get today's episode started, let's take a look at the commercials that we have for you guys today.
We all fail, we all struggle, but the difference between staying stuck and moving forward is how you use those experiences. I'm Billy Wayne, and I've poured years of lessons into this book. Lessons about failure, confidence, success, and building the character to keep pushing forward. And now, it's finally here. A book is officially available on Amazon today. Don't wait for someone else to tell you about it. Grab your copy now and start shaping the life you were meant to live.
Guys, so those two commercials were for two different community members here in Colorado, Mr. Billy Wayne, who is on the show today, and Miss Devin, who is the owner of Cracked and Grill. So please support both of their endeavors. Guys, absolutely love those people. So before we get the episode started, you guys know how we like to do things here at Morning Mimosas, right? We like to welcome our people with love. Now, depending on the episode, you guys would typically notice I don't usually use this intro. Like if the episode is like a cold case or something, I won't use this. But this episode is a little bit different. So let's welcome these three lovely Colorado community members. Let's start that. I love that. It's a full Colorado episode today. To Morning Mimosas. Oh, I love that. I love welcoming people like that. Good morning, my Colorado folks. Oh, love it. It's a full box state
There you
love
go.
today. Okay.
Right.
Guys, welcome to Morning Mimosas. Thank you guys so much for being on this wonderful episode today. Before we get this episode started, as you guys should know, we care about the people more than we care about everything else, right? So before we start this episode, let's go around the room, the virtual room, and let's just tell everybody a little bit about ourselves, even the one that's already been here.
Got it.
Who wants to go first?
Ladies first, of course.
My name is Patrice. I am the owner of the Salad Spot 2. We're fairly new to Colorado. We've been here probably about 4 months now. Growing rapidly, growing rapidly. Good morning.
Thank you so much.
I am Stephanie Lang. I am the president of the Black Sheriffs Protective Association. Born and raised in Colorado. I grew up in the Park Hill area and really excited to still serve the community that I grew up in.
Awesome. And I'm Billy Wayne. I'm the founder of the Righteous Project Inc. Nonprofit organization, as well as the author of Failure, Success, and Experience. Born and raised in Colorado as well. Grew up in Park Hill too. So here just making sure that we make a big impact on the community.
All right, guys. So I'm gonna make sure I do this real quick. Give it a yes, I absolutely love it. Thank you guys. I had to, you guys know I'm funny a little bit. But once again, welcome to my show. I appreciate all three of you guys, and I appreciate the perspectives that you each are going to bring today. So as you guys know, we're here to talk about the topic of parenting doesn't stop at 18. And the reason that we're talking about this is because some people that we may know have experienced that. So we're just going to go around the room and we're going to just, dive right into it. I know that for some of us, that wasn't our experience, but we're just going to, dive right into that. So my first question is why, especially in our Black and minority communities, why do parents kick out children at 18 with no tools or nothing?
I think honestly, multiple situations. It could be their upbringing had them feeling like, once you're 18, you got to get out there and start learning, how to be independent. It could be a financial situation to where they're not able to financially, help the child as well. And some might be selfish too. It could be a few things overall. That can overall partake in that decision making. So yeah, I didn't have that myself. I did kind of branch out and make the decision to move out on my own. I'm pretty sure my mom was upset about that because she would have kept me until I'm 50 if I, if she let me. But I think I felt at that time that I think they gave me those tools that helped me understand that I can probably be resourceful. But times change. Things aren't always the same, and every situation is different. So being able to have a kind of a safety net helps in a certain way as well. But at the same time, I feel like being able to uh, um, have those tools kind of preset before you make those decisions or before the parents just kick you out is important as well.
I agree. I feel like right now a lot of it is financial reasons. I think in Colorado, more than one person in the household has to be working.
Right.
And so I think that probably has a lot to do with it nowadays. And I think also there's just times are so different. I feel like when I was growing up, parents were a lot more focused in the household. And even though it was two parents in the household working, or one parent in the household that was working, I think now there are people who are wanting to be out in the club, even when you're, 50, 60. So I think sometimes that could be some of it as well. They're like, I'm done raising kids and it's time for me to go do my own thing. So I think that's a part of it also.
Right.
Yeah. So I honestly think that, well, you guys said it. It's a selfish thing to me. To throw a child out at 18 with no tools, no guidance. People think just because an 18-year-old is legally an adult, they're still a teenager. Like I need people to understand 18, 19, still a teen. So they still need help. And then we all also know that the brain doesn't fully develop until we're 25, right? Allegedly. So I don't know. I don't know, to kick a child out at 18 with knowing that, psychologically they're not mature, well, not psychologically, but like neurologically they're not mature yet is just, I don't know, setting a child up for failure. Now, I'm not going to say that a lot of 18, 19-year-olds can't do it because I've seen it done, but I know that they probably would have wished like, hey, I wish I would have stayed with my mother and my father just a little bit longer so I could have gained those skills and stuff like that. So that's just my take on that. Patrice, what about you? You're on mute.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Can y'all hear me?
Yep.
Y'all can hear me? Okay.
Oh, we got
Well, again, like I said, my dad didn't push me out. I was 18 when he decided to retire and move back to Florida. I stayed. I thought now, y'all, at the time that he was going to be giving me all this support. To be honest, y'all, I thought he was going to pay my rent. I thought he was going to pay my rent and it was going to be easy. I'll never forget, I was working at Pizza Hut and he just couldn't do it, because he had his own stuff going on, even though he retired and he moved. I had to handle it, and it was hard. It was hard. It was hard. I think I got evicted from my very first apartment. I did.
Mm.
And it took me to do that, to fall on my head. And he was just like, well, you should have came with me. You know what I mean? But you know how you are at 18. I had a boyfriend. I didn't want to leave. He told me spur of the moment that he was going to go. And I just stayed. And I struggled for a little bit. I worked 2 jobs. Um, that's how I got the experience of knowing that it's not easy. At 18, you are not prepared to move out on your own. I was definitely not prepared. I think I was making what, 215 an hour as a waitress at Pizza Hut, and I was working at
Mm.
Checkers, and my rent was $540 a month. You know what I mean? Back then it was
Yep.
540, and I thought that was a lot even back then. I had a roommate at first, but my roommate situation fell through and the apartment was in my name, so everything fell on me. You know what I mean? So yeah, it was hard. It was really hard, and it took me probably about maybe a year and a half, and I was hightailing it right back down to Florida with him. You know what I mean? And my dad, he didn't make it easy for me at all. I remember when I went home, I had one child and I was pregnant with my second child. And my dad, when I got off that plane, he had a list of rules for me when I got off that plane, and the rules were, I'm not babysitting. If you need to go to the store next door, take them with you. I never forget that list that he made for me, and he made me pay rent. I had to pay rent. I had to pay I want to say it was something like $250 a month, and I had to buy all the groceries. You know what I mean? So it was definitely hard, and it showed me that I wasn't willing to do that to my kids. You know what I'm saying? I got a 20-year-old now, and he's still not prepared to be out on it. Matter of fact, he's moving to Colorado. As soon as his baby turns 6 weeks, he's coming. You know what I'm saying? So, other than just, him and his behavior issues at the time and stuff like that, I wouldn't do that to any one of my kids. I feel like at coming up at 18, I feel if kids are not equipped, and I don't want to set them up for failure. They can stay with me until they get it together. That's how I feel.
Yeah.
They can, grown or not.
I completely agree. Thank you guys so much for sharing. So for us who did not have that experience, um, were there stipulations that had to be met when you did go back to your families?
Yeah, I think
Yeah, I did. Like I said,
yeah, for
go
mine
ahead.
as well. And even growing up, with my parents, they've had rules regardless. So if you're under this house, these are the rules that you abide by. And when I fell on hard times with my family, they let us back as well, but we still had those rules too.
Mhm.
But that also just lit a
Mhm.
fire on making
Absolutely.
sure that if I came back, then immediately I'm working on how do I get back on my feet right away. And I don't think it's necessarily a
Mhm.
bad thing, depending on how severe the rules are, for sure. Because I mean, not everybody is comfortable with living under their parents again, especially when they're adults and they've been out a little bit.
Right.
But you want your own rules, you want your own independence as well. So you kind of work on that too. And yeah, definitely had some rules. My parents, they were strict growing up. Anybody, my friends and family know about that as well. But yeah, I mean, we had to abide by the rules. I mean, I was an
Mhm.
adult and I came in. If there ain't no coming in and out this house. So, I made sure that
Exactly.
um, I didn't create a commotion when I was coming in and out late. But yeah, there's certain things that I still had to abide by. But it did help out overall. Just those same rules and structures is kind of what I use with
Mhm.
my kids right now as well.
Thank you so much. Anybody else?
I never moved out and back in, but growing up in my parents' house, of course, there were rules
Mhm.
as well. And so Like once I had a car, I had to pay my car insurance, and just things that if I wanted a phone, like my parents never got me a phone. If I wanted a phone, I had to work and get my own phone, which is very different from
Mm-hmm.
kids now. Right? There's an
Yeah.
expectation.
Mm-hmm.
So I remember that, getting my little box phone and having to pay for that. So yeah.
We didn't have phones back then. We had beepers.
The days. But
Right.
I was a child when beepers came out, but yeah, I definitely remember that. Okay, so I will switch the conversation then. So for those of you who have children over 18, how is it parenting a child over 18 now? I feel like I should ask that question.
Ooh, it's hard. That 20-year-old of mine, boy, Jesus, Jesus. Truly gives me a run for my money. He's moved in and I put him out and I let him come back. You know what I mean? But yeah, even I didn't have per se a lot of rules for him when he came back home. It just was, I need you to work and I need you not to be disrespectful. That's it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I need you not to be disrespectful, but I always wanted to be that support for him until he gets on my nerves where he don't feel like he have to go run to nobody else because he always got mama. You know what I'm saying? And even now, he feel like he gets mad when I call him up. Come on, baby. I'm not a baby no more. Okay, you're not a baby, but you know what I mean? You still have to come back home and you know what I mean? Do what you got to do. And now that he got a baby, I know he's going to need that extra support. You know what I mean? So, yeah, it just, it's nothing for me to say, come on. You know what I mean? Because before I see him out there struggling or doing bad, I'm come on. You know what I mean? You come home for real. They know all of them. To be honest, I have a 27-year-old, I have a 25-year-old, I have a 20-year-old, then I have a 9 and a 10-year-old that are still with me. You know, all the other three are grown, but they can always come back home as long as they respectful. They can always come home. They can always come home. I'm never gonna not make that an option for them.
Yeah, I agree with that. And just having that, I mean, those set type of rules, just don't be
Hmm.
disrespectful. And you got to have some
Hmm.
type of productivity, that you bring into the house as well.
Hmm.
Not necessarily,
Absolutely.
you have to pay rent or the bills, but hey, if we fall on hard
Hmm.
times, sometimes you might have to, pitch in. But just as long as you're being productive, I think that's important. And
Exactly. Hmm.
I'm fresh in the 18-year-old game right now. So my daughter's 18, but she's in college. So she went to college. So I dropped her off, and now she's out there learning how to be independent. But at the same time, she still
Hmm.
reaches out to us,
Hmm.
and that's what I want
Hmm.
her to understand is that no matter what, I want you to at least give it a good attempt and challenge yourself. But if anything happens, don't feel like you can't come back, because I think especially with going to college or going on your own, and I think Patrice said this as well, is that when you're 18, you feel like, hey, I can do whatever, at this time. But then you get to that point to where you understand that things is hard, right? Life is hard, and it's like, dang, did I fail? No, I don't want to go back because that's going to make everybody see that I couldn't do it. But I don't want my kids to feel like that. I want them to be like, hey, you know what? It's rough. Let me go ahead and reset. If I got to go back and live with my parents, I can, and then, just reset, get back on their feet or my kids' feet, whatever, and then try again. That's my main aspect over it right now. Like I said, she's 18. She's my first one out of the 4 that I have that left the nest, and I'm having a hard time with it myself. But that's kind of what I want to instill in her, because I know I'm the baby of my family, and I've seen the independence of my brothers and sisters as well when they went on to try it out as well, and it's hard. It's hard. So I completely understand that. So that's why I try to help my kids understand. Even my son, he's 15 right now, and I try to help him with those lessons as well, the tools, just in case. But at the end of the day, if they ever feel like they need a reset, they know where to come.
Thank you.
Yep.
And my daughter, she is 19. Actually, she just turned 19 10 days ago.
Right.
She is in college as well.
Nice.
And so we don't see her nearly as often. She did choose to stay in state I really
Right.
wanted her to go out of state because I never had that opportunity. But I have a younger son who is 6 years old, and she did not want to be away from her brother,
Yeah.
so far where
Oh,
she
Yeah.
couldn't just come. And so she's like, I really don't want to be away from him.
Mhm.
She is definitely my child who I don't have to give her a lot of guidance, but she will call me. And I'm starting to learn now that she will call who, like, she knows who to call, for certain things. Like the other day, my husband was like, yeah, something's going on with Alexis's car. And I was like, really? He goes, yeah, she called me today and blah, blah. And I thought, I'm looking at my phone like, did this girl call me? She didn't even call me. And I was like, okay, so she knows who to call. And I'm thankful that she knows that, because she knows that if she called me about a car, I'll be like, hang on, let me call you dad real quick. So I'm thankful that she's like, okay, let me go where I know the resources are for me to get this handled. But we see her, fairly often. She has a boyfriend now, so she's kind of doing her own thing. But she's a great kid. I have a really good kid. Now this little one, this 6-year-old, she's making me pray.
Hey, I
But
understand that.
I love him. So
Understood.
I absolutely love that. Thank you guys for sharing your experiences. I'm trying to figure out, do any of you guys have any questions pertaining to what's going on today? I don't always have to be the one asking questions. You guys can ask the question too. I am the host and I can ask of that.
I won't say necessarily questions, but just just overall perception or what you guys feel about just the environment itself. Because you guys see the news all the time right now, especially in Denver and Aurora. Just a lot of
Yes.
activity. That I wouldn't necessarily say I wasn't used to growing up, but now it's a little bit more in the forefront because it is on the news all the time. There's a lot of shootings happening, a lot of gang activity
Yes.
happening.
Yeah.
And to
Mhm.
me, I grew up in Park Hill. I'm not
Mhm.
saying, I'm not trying to brag and say Park Hill was the most hardcore hood in the United States, but I do remember a lot of things going on. I grew up a block away from the Holly, just right around the corner. And I mean, there's drive-bys, there's gang activity. It was Bloods and Crips, all that stuff. And it was not on the news while we were growing up. So it wasn't like it was kind of kept
Mhm.
under the rug. But now we're seeing it a lot, and it is an issue right
Mhm.
now. And I do see a lot of organizations out there putting their foot out and trying to help. But I wanted to see what you guys feel about that. I mean, are we trying hard enough, or are we not doing it enough? Case in point, a recent situation, we've seen it happen. A young child seen his
Mhm.
father
Mhm.
um, killed in the streets, and
Mhm.
I put this on Facebook myself that okay, we're rallying together right now, but how do we support this longevity? This is going to die down, but are we putting enough effort into seeing real changes overall, especially with the youth? You know,
Those were some questions that I had with my son because, like I said, I'm new here to Colorado.
right?
I've only been here 4 months. What are some things that I should be aware of, being that my son is getting ready to move his family here and he'll be with me? Should I be concerned, or what are some things that we can do in the community
Hmm.
to try to bridge the gap between what's going on nowadays? Because I'm not gonna lie, I have 4 boys. I'm a little
Yeah,
worried,
yeah.
you know.
And yeah, exactly. And the reason why I say that is because it goes hand in hand with us feeling like, do we keep, our kids with us, especially after they're 18, just to be there when they have those certain questions?
Mm-hmm.
Because we can give them the tools as much as we can
That
while they're
part.
growing up,
Mm-hmm.
but learning something, reading about
Mm-hmm.
something, having knowledge about it is different than actually experiencing it and having to make those decisions when you're out there. It could be a number of things. It could be
Right.
at a party, noticing something ain't right and leaving at the right time, or do you, when you get pulled over, do you follow the rules, or do you know what your rights are? A lot of those things we can teach them while they're growing up, but until they actually experience that, when they're on
Mm-hmm.
their own,
Mm-hmm.
that's a whole different scenario. So we want to be there to answer their questions when it
Mm-hmm.
happens, but is it? I mean, why? To me, it's like we wish that it didn't have to be that way. but it is right. And
Right.
are we
Absolutely.
providing the right tools in the community overall to make sure that the community understands what's going on?
So what I will say to that
And then
is
I'm worried.
what I would say to that is I feel like, especially with the generations before us, keeping things, not together. How do I want to say this? Things have changed generationally, right? There were certain things that our parents didn't do back then that that is done now. Like keep information from us. I feel like, yeah, we want to keep them sheltered. We want to keep them, close to the vest. But unfortunately, we do have to let them experience certain things so they can fully understand. Like we can tell them that, but if they don't experience it, they won't fully understand. I will say I do feel bad for the child that had to see that shooting that took place on 6th and Billings here in Aurora, Colorado.
Horrifying.
Mhm.
Horrifying.
It was devastating. I won't speak too much about the situation because there's too much going on in that
Yeah,
backstory.
right.
So,
Yep.
but yeah, we can. Like it's sad. So my kids are both 5. I have Irish twins. They're both 5. And every single day I look at them and I say to myself, I'm like, you guys are eventually going to be grown, and I can't do too much protecting of you guys when you guys are grown. Like, and that scares me when I look at them.
Right.
And sometimes, to be honest with you, Billy, I don't even know how to answer your question.
Mm-hmm. And that's the most honest that answer that you can provide, because really, for as long as we have outreach and support systems and everything like that, we still face the same situations today. And if somebody had the right answer, then we would be pursuing that, as a group, for sure. So I definitely understand that, and I'm an advocate of both sides. I like my wife's position where she works at, and for us, actually, she grew up on the east side. I grew up in Park Hill, so we have a good understanding of the overall area, and I do support, and I do know that, especially on the police side, there are some good police out there, and
Yes,
not
absolutely.
everybody in the neighborhood are gangsters either. There are people out there that are advocating change, and then there's always that separation of us versus them versus others. But I do know that, there are good people all around overall. Not one group of people is represents the rest of the group, for sure. And I do like to see those type of things happen in the neighborhood. But I think continuing to do that, and if you guys ever been in any of those community events, meetings, or anything like that, like it's really pulling teeth to try to get everybody to really work together.
Yes.
Right.
It is.
You might get some people to agree at a point in time, but then you start seeing that kind of unfold a little bit over time, and then you got to kind of keep that pressure on. So it is a reoccurring situation, but I think anything's possible, for sure, overall. But just still making sure that people are out there advocating for just overall peace, I think, is important too.
Yeah.
Especially with our youth, big time, because they see it. If as long as they have something to look forward to or invest into for the future, I think that changes their mindset a little bit about how they make decisions. Especially at a younger age too, versus just going out there and just doing whatever just because. But instead of going out there and making that decision, because if I make this decision right now, then that's going to get me a step closer to what I'm actually trying to do. So I think it's a really good tie-in to the subject overall. And I can go on all day about it as well. Sorry,
my daughter, just recently, I had to have a conversation with her about, being pulled over and being out too late and making sure she's in the right places, because she was telling me that her and her boyfriend were out driving around at 11 o'clock at night. And I was like, absolutely not. Y'all need to be inside a household. I don't care if it's his, I don't care if it's yours, but y'all have to be somewhere where you are not putting yourself in a situation where something bad could happen, and I have that conversation with my daughter very often because I work in law enforcement. And while I know that there are
Mhm.
very many amazing officers who are absolutely trying to do the right thing, and some started out with really good intentions, I know how sometimes things can go a different way, right? And so I just want to make sure that I'm guiding her and giving her the right thing so she's not in a bad situation. I do also think that we have some amazing advocates that are in Denver who are really fighting for some really great things, like Medea and Softener, right? I mean, when you see that there are things where where there are people who are speaking up for our rights, I think it's important to acknowledge those people, support those people. Look at Wanda James, right? Another person, right? There are so many people who are standing up for themselves and standing up for other people. And I think they absolutely need support. And I do think we tend to rally when something outrageous happens, right? But when that dies down and those people are still fighting the good fight, we're on, right? And so we've got to make sure that we are there and we are protecting them and supporting them and making sure we get out and vote, because that's another thing, right? I mean, there's just a lot of things that I think that we don't do in our community that affects us years later. And we've really got to make sure that we are telling our kids that too. You know, my daughter took over time last year and I was on top of it. I was like, girl, you get to vote. Here's what we need to do, you know, all of that. So,
Absolutely. Patrice, you want to add anything to that?
I mean, I'm also just concerned about what can we do as a collective and consistently, because while my son is not a gangster by no stretch of the word, he does have anger issues. So it's sometimes, you know what I mean, things happen, and even me being his mom, sometimes I can't even calm him down. You know what I mean? And I would hate for him to come here and have a situation, and then it can't be controlled where I can't calm them down. And then, especially with just seeing what just happened over there in Aurora. I am fearful. I stay prayed up, but I am a little fearful. Like, what do we do? Who can, what type of support can I give him? You know what I mean? What kind of community leaders do we have out here that are really serious about tackling this issue? Because fearfully, some of us just don't even want to deal with the police. Sorry, Miss Lady, but some of us just don't want to deal with them because it's just no telling which ways a situation can go. You know what I'm saying? So I want to get ahead of it before he gets here. I want to have some support for him, and you know what I mean. Even so, I've tried even trying to put him in counseling. He ain't going for that. He's a 20-year-old male that, when they get that age, they think they know everything. They think they know more than we know. You know what I'm saying? But I want to get ahead of it and find some solutions to support him. I don't want to get him all the way out here and set him up for failure, basically. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And it's just little old me. I'm just mom. You know what I mean? Dad has been incarcerated half of his life, and he's incarcerated right now, as a matter of fact. You know what I mean? So where do I go? Where do I turn? And then on top of that, at his age, he kind of feel like he's too old to have he said growing up he lacked a positive male role model. You know what I mean? So I wanna yeah, he told me that. I want to equip him with somebody like a mentor or somebody that he can feel like he can call, because sometimes he don't want to talk to mama. You know what I mean? Sometimes he wants to talk to a male, somebody that he feel like can more relate to the type of things that young men go through. You feel me?
Yep.
Thank you so
Yep.
much for
I agree
sharing,
with
guys.
that. And I think overall, I think, like I said before, there's not no surefire way, to accomplish it all. But I think just the act itself, continuously attempting to pursue the right path, is important. Overall, I mean, you can't give up at all.
Right.
And then to your point as well, like my daughter's out there right now, and if she has, she has that perception from, trying to be on her own as a female, and I can't answer all those questions for her. Like my wife
Right.
can help out, but while I feel like, yeah, you can reach out to me for anything, there's just some answers that I don't have for you. So it is. It's that difference between that, and it helps. I mean, it's a good balance for sure overall. And I'm sure there are people and resources out there. Stephanie knows quite a bit of people as well. But I think the importance is just making sure that we see, exactly where those resources are. Often, a lot of people don't have
Right.
access to that, but I think that's something that we can continuously try to provide for people, is just helping them know where to go if they need to go there. So.
Thank you guys. I just have one more question. So do you guys think, I mean, my answer is no. So I'm gonna let you guys know that now. The answer is no for me. Do you guys think that high schools fully equipped teenagers for what they need when they graduate high school? I like I said, my
Hell
answer
no.
is no to that.
Mm-mm. Absolutely not. Mm-mm. Absolutely not. Because even when I was growing up, they didn't teach us about credit. They didn't, you know what I mean? They didn't teach us to well, we didn't have that many issues back then when I was growing up. I'm 48. So we didn't have that many issues growing up as far as police brutality and a lot of the things. Times have really changed. Really changed. You know what I mean? But no, as far as just to go out into the world, heck no. They didn't equip us with half of what, not even a portion of what we needed. You know what I mean? They taught us, man, I've learned some stuff in school I have never used again since I got out of school. You know what I'm saying? Like, no,
Mhm.
absolutely not. Absolutely not.
Got it. What
Yeah,
about
I,
everybody
Yeah,
I
else?
agree. I
I
don't I
agree
don't think
with
they
that.
have.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, go ahead, Stephanie. You got it. You good?
I was just going to say, I agree with that. I don't think that schools have equipped kids, especially when I was coming out, with the things that they need. Credit is very
Mm-hmm.
important. And I will
Mm-hmm.
tell
Mm-hmm.
you, even now, that is something that I work on. My daughter, she graduated 2 years ago, but even before that, I was
Mm-hmm.
like, okay, we got to get you a checking account.
Yeah.
Here's what you need to know. Here's how
Mm-hmm.
you
Mm-hmm.
balance this. You
Mm-hmm.
got to make sure you're looking on your online account. Here, we just got her a line of
Mm-hmm.
credit and access to a credit card, and just trying to help her monitor those things, because it's not something that kids grow
Mm-hmm.
up with. You don't know, you don't know,
Yep.
right? So somebody has to teach you. And so
Mm-hmm.
I've made sure that that is a focus, not just for her, but even for my nieces too. I have a niece
That's
that's the
right.
same age as my daughter. I did all the same stuff for her, made sure she had a checking account, made sure I helped her with her getting a line of credit, a credit card, making sure she has access to those things and knowing how to use them.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I still be monitoring it. My niece is like, Auntie Stephanie be looking at my account. Yeah, absolutely right. I'm on top of it, because I need
That's
to make
right.
sure that stuff is going
Right.
together here. And if you don't know, I want to
Mm-hmm.
make sure that we're there
Yeah.
to teach you. So
Exactly. Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
And I agree as well. I think the big aspect is a lot of people don't understand that it's not just the school as well. But when they come home, it's up to the parents too to continue
Yep.
on the type of things that the school can't teach them.
Facts.
I don't think the school structure is set up to successfully have the kids be fully prepared when they reach adulthood at all, by any means. It's
Mm-hmm.
all
Mm-hmm.
specific subject learning, and kids don't adapt to every single subject at all.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
we're so far deep into the schooling system right now. It's going to take a complete
Mm-hmm.
restructure to even get that on track, to where we feel it is correct. And to Stephanie, just like you were saying about teaching them about financial literacy at a young age, is extremely important. It's one of my biggest projects, that I've been working on for a long
Mm-hmm.
time. And what I've noticed is that
Mm-hmm.
kids, you can still teach them about it, but they're not interested until it's applying to them in real life.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm.
Man, it's like,
Mm-hmm.
teaching my kids same thing as well. Here's the credit, here's the banking account, credit cards and stuff like that. And it's like you have to
Mm-hmm.
actively pursue that for them until they get into the real world and have to use it.
Mm-hmm.
um
Mm-hmm.
and it it's up to the parents to help out with that, because I seen an article that the news that the school system is going to start requiring financial literacy as a required course, but
Mm-hmm.
that's the same as trying to teach me to learn Spanish in 2 semesters and then sending me on my way feeling like I know how to speak in like
Yes.
15 minutes.
Got
Mm-hmm.
it.
Mm-hmm.
It's learning and then application. Application is the most important part
That's right.
of that. And if there's any way the schools can find out how to get the kids hands on and apply what they're learning, I think that's where it'll change how our kids are brought into the world big time. So
I
right
just
on.
had an
Alrighty.
aha moment. I just had an aha moment, y'all. So on top of me doing owning the salad spot too, I also, my son's name is Genesis, and about 4 years ago I started my tax business. It's called Genesis Tax Consultants. And this year I'm branching out and I'm adding credit repair. So I was just thinking it might be a good idea to start a credit literacy course for the kids. You know what I
Oh,
mean? The maybe 15 and up, and I would be willing to do
Mm-hmm.
that for the kids for free because it's needed. It's
yeah,
so needed. It's so needed. Yeah, for real, for real.
yeah, that's what's up.
I absolutely love that. Well, guys, we are coming close to the ending of this episode. Do you guys have any final words pertaining to the conversation today?
I don't. We just have to be the support. We got to be the support, not just for. I'm a full advocate, not just for my kids, for anybody's kids. You know what I mean? It
Hmm.
truly takes bringing the village back. We need that village back. We had that. You know what I mean? The neighbors going off on our, making sure that we did what we were supposed to do, and we don't have that
Yeah,
nowadays. Kids. I mean, the
No.
parents get upset when you say something to the kids. I'm not whoop mine ass if you see them doing something wrong. You know what I'm saying? So, for real. So yeah, I mean, yeah, we need that. We really need that. It's important.
Thank you.
yep,
Anyone
yep.
else?
I agree. That I was gonna say the same thing. Yep. So I agree 100%.
Well, one of the things that I would want to say as we are talking about the village and just bringing things
Hmm.
back is that on October 11th, the Denver Sheriff's Department is doing an event called Faith in Blue. What it is it's an opportunity for the Black and Brown community to come into one of our local churches and just build bonds with the community. So, me and several of my colleagues will be hosting this event. It's going to be at New Hope Baptist Church on October 11th from noon to 4. Lots of information's out there, but please get in contact with me if you are interested in coming. We'd love to have you. There'll be lots of people who are in the building that are making decisions, and you can absolutely have some great conversations. So we'd love for you to come
That's
out, get
dope.
some free
I got.
food, enjoy our events. So yeah,
I have an event to do that
Perfect.
day from 9. I believe it's from 9 to 12, but I would definitely head on over there afterwards. I
thank
definitely will
Yeah,
head on
you
after.
can count me in.
you.
Count me in as well.
It's
Mm-hmm.
open to
Mm-hmm.
the community.
And
It's open to
Mr. Wayne, you want to go ahead and talk about the upcoming event on October 4th?
Yeah, for sure. We do have a mental wellness summit that we're hosting next week at Union Baptist Church in Park Hill off of Martin Luther King and Dexter, just right there. So basically, we're bringing in some vendors, some resource vendors, and we're also having some speakers as well, including Holly's going to be there as a speaker. So we're gonna have a few speakers talking about different subjects, different topics, but it's going to be one of many resource fairs that we're going to provide, to the community. So
That is
basically,
so
we're
dope.
trying to get as many, thank you, many people as we can. Shout out to Anchored in Hope. It was their idea to host it, and they brought me in as well. So I appreciate them for doing that. But just making sure that these resource community events are as everywhere basically. So we'll have as many as we can. So yeah, definitely next week, Union Baptist Church from 11 to 4.
We there.
Perfect. I will make sure to give you guys all of the information for both events coming up on October 4th and October
Yeah, please
11th.
do.
So please look out for that
Mm-hmm.
information. That'll be posted on the Morning with Moses page. Well, guys, we're gonna get out of here. It's Saturday. We have jobs, but we off. So we're gonna get out of here and chill. So as you
Right,
guys know, this is
right.
Morning Mimosas. We value justice, healing, and education for the Black and minority communities. We will see you guys next
That's
time.
right.
Bye-bye.
See
All
you
right.
next time, y'all. Bye.